Hey, it's Ryan with SMB. Today we're going to be installing our new crew cab long bed tank for the Chevy Duramaxes and GMCs as well. In the box, you're going to get this QR code. You can scan the QR label right here. That's going to take you to the written instructions, and also it will include a link to go to the install video that we're going to film today. So to get started, we've got the truck up on the lift, but you can do this in your driveway as well. It's going to be a pretty straightforward install. We'll go through the tools you're going to need and start working on getting this tank out of here. Today we're going to be using a 13 millimeter. This is going to drop the skid plate, the tank straps. A 14 millimeter, this will be for the cross member support bracket for the SMB tank. And then either a flathead or a nut driver to pull off the hose clamps on your filler neck and filler level vent. Also, we're going to need some fuel line quick connect tools. So I've got a set here of some aluminum ones, but you can also go buy plastic ones at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, any of those companies. So first I'm going to remove the clamp that holds on the filler level vent to the filler neck here. I just pry between the two ends of it here, and then we can remove this from the truck. And at least just get it loose. Then it's easiest to use a flathead or a nut driver. And just follow this filler neck down till you get to the hose clamp. I've already loosened it up, as you can see. With the clamp released and the hose clamp loose, I can pull on the filler neck. We got the filler neck completely disconnected, dropped the hose clamp out of there. Now we can start dropping the skid plate from the bottom side of the tank. So these are just going to be 13 millimeters all the way around here. There'll be two up front, and then one more in the back here with another one on this side. So two in the front, two in the back, and then this side just on clips. So once you get the four out, it'll just swing over and drop down. I'll show you that in a second. You just remove the fourth bolt. So now we can just slide the whole skid plate up and over the clips on this side. It's raining today, so it's full of water. And then start just prying this thing out of here. Like so. And we won't be reusing this with the SMB tank. So we will toss it out of the way here and move on to our fuel tank straps next. We're going to loosen the straps with a 15 millimeter front and rear strap. There's two bolts, one on each side of the strap here, or one on the driver's side of both straps. With the straps loose, we'll go ahead and drop it onto the jack. We typically recommend disconnecting the fuel lines before dropping the tank, but in this instance, we actually forgot. I'm going to remove them now on the way down. So I'm going to use a 3/8 inch disconnect here. Just slide that in, and then we should be able to pop this thing right apart. There it goes. And now we're going to move on to the bigger line, which should be a 1/2 inch. And slide this in from the back here. You might have to remove it from the bracket or just push it further down. And the same process. Now we can remove the vent from the filler neck. We've dropped the tank a couple inches. Again, just going to use a 5/16 or 8 millimeter nut driver. Remove this hose clamp. And then go ahead and remove the vent. There we go. And then the electrical sensor. This is going to be just pressed down. All right. Now we're ready to drop the tank. Got the S&B tank ready to go. We're going to use the provided O-ring. Do not reuse your factory O-ring. You will have leaks. Got the S&B O-ring in there, in the O-ring groove. We're going to drop the sending unit in and then click the float into place once it's in the tank. I'll show you in a second. The most important thing is to make sure it clicks all the way in. We can angle this downwards a little bit. There we go. And that's snapped into place. Now we're going to point the finger on the sending unit towards the finger on the tank and install the new sending unit locking ring we provide. You may need to rotate your electrical sensor just a little bit. We can spin it back after we get the locking ring in place. We'll get this started by hand. And we have a locking ring tool, but you can also just use a flathead screwdriver to get this locked into place. So that on there, I can get that started. Get a breaker bar on here, and we're just going to spin this until the locking ring is touching the finger, and this ramp here goes past the hump. So you'll see what I mean once I get this locked into place there. So you need to make sure that this side's touching, that the ramp in the locking ring is past the hump here. You can now go ahead and transfer over our fuel lines. So it'll be the same sizes, the 1/2 inch on the bigger line here, and then the 3/8 inch tool on this one. It's kind of a trick to sneak it in here. Here we go. I think we're good. Okay. We can now go ahead and pop them out of the quick connect on the factory tank. And move them over to the S&B sending unit. They're just going to click right on. Sweet. And these are ready to go. We've got the S&B tank ready to go up now. We can throw our vent lines over the frame rails. I've got the rear thrown up over right at the filler neck as well. And we can start pumping this thing into place. We'll do the electrical once it's up in place, as well as the filler neck vent. All right, I felt that click. Test it with my finger. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get the vent line connected here. Okay. Press that on pretty far, and then get our nut driver back in here. We're going to route the rear rollover vent line over this bed cross member. And then over the frame rail right by the filler neck. Connect our feed line first. Just push on that. There, it clicked. And our return next. That clicked. We can continue going up with the tank now. We're going to go ahead and get the filler neck installed now, just in case we have to loosen the tank up at all. So we have some slack on this clamp. Push that over. Let me get the hose clamp into place. Make sure I point the screw on the hose clamp towards me. There we go. We're gonna get the tank straps installed now. This tank's gonna use 2 of the same straps, so don't worry about which one goes where. I've got it indexed on the driveline side. Now I can take our 15 millimeter and run it through the strap bolt hole. There we go. We've got the straps in place. We're now gonna get the front support in. So we're gonna get this up and over the frame rail on both sides and dropped into place. I've got the lift, or the jack, just putting a little bit of pressure up on the tank here so we can get this slid under. Put that into place. We can let off the pressure there. And get this centered up. Start getting our clamping brackets secured. So to do so, we're going to put the U-bolt up and over. That way? Is that right? Cool. And get a washer with a lock nut. These are going to be 14 millimeters. With that side tightened down, we'll go ahead and switch to the other side and do the exact same thing. Thanks for following along as we installed our new crew cab long bed tank for the 01 to 2010 Silverados and GMC Sierras. If you have any questions at all during the install, give us a call at 909-947-0015. And I'm going to give you a quick overview here of the tank. If you look on our website and you look at the statistic of how low the tank hangs further than the factory tank, it's going to look crazy. It's like 3 or 4 inches, I believe. But the reason that is the factory tank was tucked way up behind this frame rail. So I wanted to give you a clear view from the side here with it up on the rack. You can see we're pretty much flush with the driver's side frame rail. So you're not losing any ground clearance. The tank is a lot bigger, a lot longer. We're able to get that height by making it taller just because the factory tank was so short. But like I said, it's not very intrusive. Looks great from the side of the truck. You won't even notice it's in there, and you're gonna have a ton of range.